Hello and welcome to the next chess game I want to show you. This time I show you the game between Houdini 4 and the B versus the first ever Stockfish version. Stockfish is white and Houdini 4 is black, and I let them play the Catalan opening, which I just showed you here on the left, and this is the position right now. So let's say actually want to defend my pawn. So is this in any way possible here? If I start with c6, because I have no idea how to play the Catalan. Then knight here, d5, knight takes, pawn takes, and knight here, and the rook in the corner will be lost. So it's probably not possible to defend the pawn. So let's say knight c3, knight c6. Knight here, trying to go e4. You can even prevent this e4 move from happening. Bishop e7, e4, castles, e5, knight here, and now you cannot push c5. So probably you start with c5 now. And if takes, you can exchange queens with yeah, half good position, I would say. And here you can also get this pawn, maybe defend your own pawn, threatening a fork here on f2. So let's say c5. Okay, e5 is not possible. Let's say e3 then. Takes, knight takes, and knight here. Trying to maybe go knight there and defend the pawn. So let's say knight here to attack it, knight there to defend, queen here to again attack it, knight there to defend. Also now this b2 pawn is defended, but then knight here would come, or even the other knight jumping in there. And this could very well be a problem. Queen there, and then e4, threatening bishop e3. Yeah, okay, you have this check, but then you have to defend this square right here, probably with the bishop. So, well, bishop here, queen there, bishop there, queen there. Let's say queen here, takes, and now you cannot defend this square anymore. So it's probably not wise to do something like this. Queen c2. So after this, should probably play a6 to prevent anything, prevent everything, or capture here, mess up the pawn structure. Yeah, probably something like this, and you still keep your pawn and then castling. And it's not that clear how white will regain the pawn. Probably rook to the b file, bishop here to there as an idea, queen to c7. So let's say knight here. Okay, let's go here with the knight and queen there. Now I can go bishop b5 to pin the knight. And yeah, this square is covered by the queen, by the knight, so there is no queen check winning the bishop. But maybe something like this. Bishop check, queen check, bishop here, the rook is defended. Also queen there is possible, so this is not on. but you can take here. Now the bishop is on the thread, so you take it, bishop takes, and now castles. Rook here, bishop there to there, queen here still. So let's say rook c1. Okay, we have the move knight c6 instead of all this. c5 would be interesting. Try and keep the pawn. So let's say knight c6. Knight c6. Queen a4 would regain the pawn immediately, but okay, you don't really wanna defend this pawn. Okay, I understand this. So let's just go with castles. Bishop e7, queen a4, castles, queen takes there, and bishop here most probably. And then knight there, knight takes, bishop takes, rook here, pawn takes, rook takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. It's 4, 5, 6 versus 6 pawns, and black has the bishop pair in the development, and white is not really developed that good. So this I reject. Probably knight here, pawn takes immediately. Now the knight has to move, and then you can take there without worrying stuff. So probably not knight takes, but queen here also looks kind of awful, because then the bishop hangs and you can at least mess up black's pawn structure, even with something like this. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Okay, we have a move here. We have the move rook b8 by Houdini. Okay, let's say bishop e3 is what Stockfish is calculating. This I would reject due to knight there. Then you can maybe move the bishop again and kick the knight next move. But bishop here, bishop takes, queen takes, a6 here, queen there. Then you can maybe hold on to the pawn by playing this one. So probably not something like this. Probably something like knight here to attack this pawn. Have queen here now. Knight here. e4 is now a pretty good move. Or you can also go rook there to try and get this pawn. And after this, e4, knight here, still keeping everything together, and white has just locked in his own bishop. But okay, white could continue with f4, but then it would face this check. Let's say king there, and bishop here followed by castling. Okay, white has some compensation, but b5, c3 will come. Okay, we have different move than knight g5, but the same idea basically, only better, I think. We have bishop e3 and knight to here, attacking the bishop, also preventing bishop f4. So let's see, knight d2 is what Stockfish is Stockfish is calculating. Now I would just take this, pawn takes, and play the move b4, b5, knight here. I would capture this immediately, and now this tripled isolated e-pawn I don't know if you want to have this. So I will go bishop to d2, threatening e4, so maybe f5, stopping e4. But okay, the knight wants to be there, because after knight here, would just snap it off and play the move b5. And I think this is this favors the black player, this position, by a lot, actually. By a lot. Upper pawn, same pawn structure. So okay, the other option is, instead of going back knight d5, queen c1, and if takes, then queen takes. Now bishop e7, most probably. Okay, this rook b8 I have to remember, because it prepares b5 and it stops any pin of the knight. It goes out of this strong diagonal here. So this is pretty good stuff by Houdini 4 x64B, which is playing black. So queen c1. Let's say queen c1, you don't take the bishop, you play b5, trying to hold on to this pawn, because this pawn is under threat from the queen. So yeah, knight here doesn't do that much, knight here also. Queen c1 and now b5, holding on to the pawn. Knight, no, not, let's say knight here, knight takes, pawn takes, attacking this one. So you takes, still attacking this one. c5 maybe. And now knight here. Or even some bishop check. No, then you just block with the bishop, so this doesn't do that much. So knight here. Let's say bishop, let's say a6 to further protect this pawn. Knight here going after this one. So okay, let's say bishop there. Well, then you lose this pawn. You want to go bishop there, but without losing a pawn. So let's say knight c3, a6, knight here, queen there, still keeping this pawn on the threat. Let's say b6, takes, planning to go rook to c1. See bishop there, rook c1. Now this pawn is really under threat, so you kind of have to give up your bishop pair if you want to keep the pawn. b5 played. Let's see, bishop takes, or an alternative is also queen takes followed by queen here check. So let's say you prevent all that. And the other thing after b3 I just recognized is, if you take this pawn will become also a target. So here you kind of have to play this one to keep this pawn, and also let's say knight takes, rook here, but then queen there check, and I don't know. I really don't. I think you kind of have to give up the pawn at some point, at least after b6. Okay, we have this knight. We have after b5 this knight move I just mentioned. So knight takes, pawn takes, bishop here, also e6 immediately is maybe an option. Get rid of this. Then maybe bishop there anyway, attacking the rook. You don't really want to push e4, because then you would block in your bishop. Don't want to push e4, because then you block in your bishop. So this you really don't want to do. Bishop here, but do you go there or there? Probably. Let's see. You don't have to take it and allow this. Anyway, you can go bishop b7 then here, but then a5, but then just b3, takes. Okay, at least white got this open file. Knight here, you can just snap it off. Let's say rook takes, and then you can castle, and you still have your extra pawn. So let's see both evaluations. Houdini is on -030. Stockfish is on -027, so it's slightly better for black already. Probably. So this rook takes. Okay, let's say knight takes, pawn takes, and b3 using this pin. But then you can just attack the rook, right? Takes, pawn takes, and black has a passed pawn and is up the exchange, so this you can't allow. But if you move back with the rook, then b6, and you have a protected passed pawn, so this is also what you shouldn't allow. So knight takes followed by b3 is not an option. If you take with the pawn, you give black a passed pawn here. Okay, we have this, but without a4 included. We have this knight takes, bishop takes, maybe now b3, because now this won't come with an attack on the rook. And if you push, then bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, then maybe b3, and you have a lot of weaknesses here on this diagonal. And this bishop is really good, and black has the bishop pair, so black can maybe go for something like bishop here, h4, h5 or something. This is also not what... Maybe knight takes is better to attack the bishop. But then just going there. Rook is still covering this pawn. I don't know, maybe something like this. Takes. Bishop takes, rook here, but you... Oh no, not rook here. Rook there. Attacking the bishop. So the bishop moves, let's say to here, to hinder white's development, but then you can just push. The bishop has to go there, because if it goes there, then this fork comes. So bishop here. And now I don't know. f3, g5, and you still get this fork. But okay, black weakened his king set very much, but this rook is defending it, and this bishop is very strong in this diagonal, so probably something like this is not possible. Rook here, bishop there, c5. Okay, we have basically the same variation I showed before, but with different moves. Now we have a4, b6, takes, b3, maybe. Yeah, this could very well be okay for black, for white. Regaining the pawn. Knight takes, you cannot take with the knight, but you can push. Knight takes, bishop takes, Bishop takes. Now I would go queen takes, so that you don't allow this check here. But then either rook there or rook there is strong to one of those squares here, which I highlighted green. Okay, we don't have takes. We have b3 immediately. b3. Yeah, I'm curious about the evaluation of both engines. Both, it should be around equal still. Black's king is still in the center. White has more development for the pawn. And yeah, this bishop to e3 is not that stupid actually. The knight is pinned also now to the bishop. So this b3, bishop c6, a8 to be defended. Let's see, pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Knight takes is not possible because then the bishop would hang. No, that's not true actually. You could take there, but white got the pawn back, and this bishop hinders this c5 break. So maybe you snap off this bishop, snap off that bishop, and try and go rook there, or even queen there could be played. And after the exchange of queens, black has a bishop for a knight and the better pawn structure, but white has 3 central pawns, black only has 1. So this, it's still very interesting. Bishop a8. Bishop e3 g5 now is what Stockfish thinks is a good move. Bishop e3 g5. Let's say bishop here. Pawn takes, queen takes, pawn takes, pawn takes, queen takes. I would, before all that, I would capture here, capture there, and then only then capture here. Pawn takes, bishop takes, so this is not on. Black can just castle, but then e4 will maybe hit. Then knight here attacking the queen. Does the queen go? I will go to d3, no, to c2. Okay, white got the pawn back. White should be fine in that position, just fine here. I would even prefer the white's position. But okay, black's position is also not that bad. Black has no problems at all. Houdini is calculating f6 instead of this line. Okay, let's try f6. Let's go with f6. Where does the bishop go? Doesn't want to go to this square. Probably not to that one. So let's see, bishop back. And I would just capture here, right? Capture there, capture there. Yeah, but you cannot defend this pawn anyway. But right now, black is up 2 pawns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So f6, where does the bishop go? B takes c4 is now the move both engines fear and are calculating. So takes there, takes there, let's say, takes there. No, you don't want to allow this check, I have said this already. And this is also keeping that pawn. So pawn takes. You don't want to go rook takes either. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But those are split pawns. So a5, a4, h5, h4 maybe an idea to start attacking. Bishop coming here, but maybe f3 to prepare e4. No, but currently this pawn is under threat. So you have to do something about this. Either you play e3. This looks very meek actually. It's e3 move. Queen there also. This is a pass pawn. So I like black here in that position. f6. B takes c4. Takes, bishop takes. Let's go with taking here first. And knight there. Okay, takes, takes. Now there is no queen here, but you can kick the knight. So let's see, where does the knight go? It doesn't really matter where the knight goes. If it goes here, it gets pinned. But after f3, okay, you lose that pawn. This is a double attack. Also bishop takes, pawn takes. You can take this pawn immediately. So there is no time actually for doing such things. Bishop takes. Let's go with bishop takes, queen takes. Yeah, you have a problem with that pawn here. Well, e3. I don't know, I still like black's position there. I would go for something like this. But maybe after b takes c4, knight here is just better. But what about this one? Pawn takes, rook takes, pawn takes, rook takes, bishop takes, king takes, queen here check. Now queen takes there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versus 1, 2, 3, 4. Still white is up a pawn. Black is up a pawn. So bishop takes, rook takes. Okay, wait a bit. No, not this. Not that at all. No, not that at all. b3. No, we had a4 actually. And now we had the move b3. Now bishop there. And bishop g5. f6. B takes c4. Knight b6. Now bishop takes here we have. Rook takes. I don't know. Okay, the bishop is hanging. You can either go c4. Then the knight will maybe come to d5. Or you can just go back and then you lose this pawn. And this is a very strong knight. And after takes, rook takes, queen takes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pawns again. Yeah, I don't see the compensation for all that. So yeah, we have this bishop here. Now I will go knight takes c4, pawn takes, rook takes, queen takes. Knight d2 most probably, but then just takes. C takes. And bishop here. I'm trying to go king f7 maybe as an idea. To try and push h5, h4, h6 maybe. So it's not even white that has the attack, it's even black with the bishop. So, so let's say e4. It's defended by the knight. h4. You cannot go e5. You cannot go h5. You cannot really go with your king in this pin. So yeah, I really like black's position here. I really like, so probably not taking there. But let's see, knight takes c4 is probably what will come. But both engines thinks it's kind of equal, this position. So it's not that bad for white. But I have now some ideas how to play the Catalan. And yeah, I see black here as the better team, the black side. Knight takes c4. Knight bd2. Yeah, knight bd2. Then I would take the bishop, take here, and go queen there, I don't know about. No, not queen here, of course. Knight, bishop there, I will go. Trying to either castle or go the aggressive king f7 with plan h5, h4 in mind. Yeah, but king f7 goes into the rook's file. So, for example, e4, king f7, now you can play e5 because the pawn is pinned from the rook. So this you have to count into consideration. So probably castling is more safe after bishop here, e4, maybe castling. Now e5 is not a threat. Bishop here attacking the pawn. Don't know. Pawn takes, rook takes, queen here. Trying to go e5 and rook e1, rook a1. So let's say queen here, try and exchange queens. Takes, and now this pawn is very strong. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So still black is up a pawn, and we have to move knight d2. Let's see what's the follow-up. Knight takes knight takes d2 is what Houdini calculates. Then bishop takes d2. Now maybe queen e4 to prevent any e4 from black, from white. So both engines are now reaching time control. This is the last move from... No, wait. Houdini spent a lot more time actually. Maybe it's not even time control yet. Yeah, well, it is. So after Stockfish makes his move, let's see. This is white, this is black. As you see there, this is Houdini's clock, 24 seconds versus white, 11:24. So let's see. Bishop takes d2. This, but f3. No. So knight takes d2, bishop takes d2. Queen takes here might be an option, but then queen takes there. But then queen takes here, but then queen here. Forks, rook and king. So this you cannot play. You cannot allow this. So you have to keep defending this c2 pawn. So let's say bishop here. And now maybe king here and h5, h4, because now the f file is not open, and if ever takes, rook takes, and queen here, you can go queen there, defend the b pawn, defend the h1 square, go king f7, and it should be safe, still preventing any h4. So if the rook goes there, then even king here maybe. And then h5, h4 would be very nice. So bishop takes d2, b4 now. Okay, we have b4. Using the connected pass pawn. using the passed pawns by pushing b4. Still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Still the gambited pawn is there for the black team. Let's see both evaluations. Yeah, but it's still not really an advantage. But I like black's position, I have to say, although white is better developed and has his king already castled, but okay, there is always this plan h5, h4 and king f7, so b4. I would go a4 now to stop any a5 to stop any a5 from black. Also queen c6, but this does probably nothing because you just go queen here, but then maybe rook there, threatening this pawn. Okay, you can just defend it that way, but then e4, probably the other rook. I would go rook a to here, but we don't have this check. We have queen here going after the pawn that way. Also, this forks the pawns now. Now white is clearly getting his pawn back, most probably. No, after queen here he doesn't. So queen d5 most probably, because you cannot take here now with the queen because you lose the queen. You cannot take the bishop because you lose the queen. And after queen takes, pawn takes, this pawn is again defended, and now it's really white who has to suffer, because this is now not easy. White has to suffer this game. Black has no problems at all. Bishop takes c7. What? Queen takes c7. Oh yeah, you can go queen takes c7 now. Of course. But now still bishop here, attacking the queen. This square is covered, that square is covered, that square is covered, that square is covered, that square is covered, so probably queen here. Prepare e4. So probably f5. Here. Yeah, but this pawn would also hang. So after you go back with the queen to the only square, then you get this one. And then maybe queen here. Bishop there threatening this pawn. But bishop here is just good. Okay, so you cannot do this. Bishop e7 is now the move which Houdini and Stockfish prefer. Bishop e7, just to get the king into safety, either via king f... Yeah, well, king f7 has to be played because otherwise the bishop is not defended. But then pawn takes... bishop takes b4. What bishop takes b4 anyway? Is there... Bishop takes b4, threatening mate. Bishop takes b4. Now what? How to get the piece back? How to get the piece back? Queen here. But then the bishop just goes back. Bishop takes b4. What? Bishop takes b4? I want to see this now. I don't understand it. Bishop takes b4. Bishop takes b4. There is no double attack. There is no check. But queen takes here most probably. Queen takes here, attacking the rook. If you castle, Then you get rook to the c file, followed by queen there. So you have to go rook there. And now rook there maybe, but then a4 just keeps this thing alive. And queen here is coming to defend, so I don't see it. I wouldn't give up this piece here. Bishop takes b4, rook f8, bishop and queen takes h7. Okay, you get 2 pieces for it, but then rook f7, and this check does nothing because the queen is protecting the rook, which is very nice. So rook f7. What's the idea of the rook f7? Queen g6, pinning the rook. King e7 most probably. Yeah, but this favors black, I think, by a lot. You cannot just give up a piece like that. But both engines still thinks it's kind of equal, this position, after queen takes g7. Very interesting kind of stuff. Yeah, white has got 1, 2, no, not 1, 2, 3 pawns for the piece, and black's king is in the center. But okay, black has got the open g file and the bishop. So, and this pawn is also hanging, this d4 pawn. So it's hard to say. It's very interesting kind of game, this Catalan opening. So yeah, bishop takes g7. Okay, we don't have this. We have bishop e7, bishop takes, queen takes, rook f8 forced, because there is no other move. Now queen takes h7, rook here, attacking the queen, queen g6 and king e7. We'll play something like this. Then I don't know, rook coming to the c file. This is a very strong attack by white. Probably not this rook, probably that rook. If you are greedy as black, you kind of lose the game instantly, because there is a rook hanging and you get mated, or lose the queen, or both. So you kind of have to be careful here as Houdini, but Houdini is a good calculator. Houdini for x64B. So rook f8, queen takes h7 and rook f7, queen h3. I would go queen g6. Queen h3. I don't know about queen h3. King e7 nevertheless. Maybe for a queen exchange. Queen takes, king takes, now but now a5, and I don't know the h pawn. I don't know if white can hold this endgame though, but it's very interesting. Let's see both evaluations. -024 and -017. So it's still playable for black. Rook f7 now. Very interesting, this sacrifice. Bishop takes b4, but it's probably the only chance white has to play something like this, because otherwise it probably would be a slow death. Queen h8 doesn't work. I would go queen g6, but but after queen g6 there is maybe queen takes there, and after this check the checks run out eventually. There is one more check, but then it's over with the checks and you just lost another pawn. So this is probably Stockfish's fear. And queen here kind of defends this pawn because of queen takes there. King here most probably, because if rook there, then queen here picks up this rook over there. So you kind of have to go there. Now there are no more checks, but only 2 pawns left. So I don't know if this is winning for black. So probably you cannot take the d4 pawn. After queen h3, rook c8. Trying to get some counterplay. Now this check, does it do something? Check. King here, defending the rook, attacking the queen. I don't know, and then this pawn might hang, but no. If the queen is on d7, then the rook will come onto the d file, pinning the queen to the king. So this doesn't work. Rook fc1 after this, rook fc1. And then rook c4. Rook takes, queen takes. This pawn is still defended. Very interesting kind of thing, this game. Very interesting. Chess is so rich. Really, chess is a beautiful and rich game. Queen e4 f5 is also an option. f5. Let's see. Queen h3 was not on Houdini's force radar. So f5. f5. What does f5 do? Okay, it prevents any e4 ever, and it threatens this d-pawn now because there is no queen takes e6 anymore. So let's say e3, but this weakens his light squares even more. Queen could come in here. Now this could be an option. Trying to go queen there, or even rook c8 or a5. I will play at some point to fix this bishop there. This is a good bishop. So f5, e3, king f8. So we have queen h3 in the game. Now probably f5, e3, king f8. How is this now? Rook here, queen here, check, king there. This doesn't do anything. Yeah, black is slowly but surely could grind this out to a win. White has to be very careful, but it's a nice idea, this bishop sacrifice, probably the only chance. Here, queen h3, rook c8, king e7, queen takes d4, no, f5. The other option is queen e4. Going after this pawn, now e3 anyway, and then f5. Or then after this, maybe rook ac1 followed by e5. You still cannot take this pawn. Rook ab1 is what Stockfish is calculating, but then still a5, and this rook is kind of doing nothing there. Hard to say if white can really hold this. Rook ab1 is Stockfish's move. Very interesting. Yeah, this Catalan opening is also very rich here in his own right, and Stockfish 1 is also not that bad. The first ever Stockfish. Now it's crushing everything, except of Leela sometimes, but still it's probably crushing everything. So let's see if it can hold this endgame there. 3 minutes left for both engines. Okay, we don't have rook ab1 as suggested first. We have the move e3, protect the d-pawn. Ah, this is the idea. Going after the queen. That's smart. The queen is protecting the rook there. And this endgame here, I don't know if this is holdable. a5 at some point. So maybe a5 immediately. Put this pawn on a dark square where it's, and have a nice outpost for this bishop. But white still has its 3 pawns for the piece. So it's not that clear. e3, rook h7, rook h7, rook f7, c7 is now what Houdini is thinking of. Rook c7, rook c8, rook there, rook takes, but then queen here, and stuff like this. I don't know. So after this you might exchange. Now the rook might come here. Okay, king there, rook here, bishop there. Queen is covering the checking square, but this checking square not. And now it's very difficult to defend this, so rook here, what to play here, what to do. Maybe bishop here to block, followed by rook there. And then let's see, this check comes. This check, okay, the king can hide there. If you take this pawn, then you get rook here. Bishop takes, rook takes, rook takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, and now this pawn is also defended. I don't see the reason why I play this rook to the c-file. I think the other one would have been very much better. Rook c7, we have rook here, and now what? Rook a8 to c8. What about this check? Okay, this doesn't do that much. No, not here. I will go up the board. So there are no more checks. We have to exchange now. Most probably. Okay, there is one more check. This one. Ah, and this picks up the bishop. Okay. Rook takes, queen here, picking up the bishop. So king has to go there, and then it's a draw by repetition. Queen here, check. There. Oh, wait. You cannot go there with a check because the bishop is covering this square, so king d8. You can either take the pawn or give a check. So let's say you give a check. Yeah, but it's still a draw by repetition, right? Not here. You can even take a pawn in the way and continue checking. If you run here, you get this check. I don't really see the problem here. It's a draw. I think it's a draw now. Yeah, it's Stockfish thinks it's a draw. Houdini, I don't know what Houdini thinks. Right around here, queen takes c8. What? Wait, what's the position? Okay. we don't have this kind of stuff. We had this check, and now king here. There are no more checks. Queen takes here, rook takes there, rook takes there. Okay, it's still interesting after all of that. Queen and bishop versus 2 rooks and 3 pawns. Whew. Very interesting game. Very interesting game. Haven't seen that one coming. Okay, if black would have a light squared bishop, then it's all over because this diagonal is very strong, but black has a dark square bishop and all these pawns are on dark squares. So in the end, this will be targets, but right now it's blocking in the bishop. And white could have a fortress here. Okay, bishop there. No, this cannot be played. So let's say rook there. Check. King here, rook there. Takes, check. King here, taking there. 3 versus 3, taking there. Queen check. Or no, queen check here I would go. Because after you go stupid move, then there is this check picking up the rook. Okay, we have moves. Right here we don't have this. We don't have that. We have this. We have that move, and that move. So white is basically doing nothing. I have this check, king here. Oh wait, the king could march in. They are threatening checkmate now. And if you go there, then there is this bishop takes, followed by taking the rook. So this is a plan, yeah. Seems so. And black can't. White cannot do so much against this. Okay, white played that move, black played that move. Now it's faster. King here. Rook there, king here. The king is trying to come in. Very interesting. King here, bishop there. Okay, if check, then here if takes, then takes, you can take the rook or you can go this. Check, and king here. There is no defense anymore. Interesting. Interesting stuff. Okay, we have a couple of moves. We have this king here. Rook there. Let's just put on the position on the board. Rook there. King there. Rook there. Bishop is there. Rook is there. Okay, that's the position right now. Wasn't probably the moves, but okay. King back here. Now it's black's move again. F5. So let's see both evaluations. -369 and -343. So I think white is lost now. Both engines think white is lost now. Okay, very interesting. The bishop returns to that square. The king returns to that square, the bishop goes there, the rook goes there. Bishop b4 now, but then rook here just, right? And what have you gained? What have you gained by all that? Should b4. Rook there, queen there. Okay, the queen is coming in there now. The king is very nice here on f3. Oh, we have this e4 and now f5. Heating up the position. Rook here, king takes there. Yeah, I saw this. There was this rook e3 threat, and this would have been checkmate. So if you go in for the checkmate immediately, then you get this rook here check, and then it's not that clear. So okay, but now all the pawns are falling off. f4, rook here, king takes. Yeah, oh, everything is falling off now. Black's king is just too active. Now also this is falling. No, now it's definitely over. Here, queen g4 check. Queen takes here. If king takes bishop, then queen to e4 check, picking up this rook right here on c6. So the king went back, then this check. Now again, let's see both evaluations, -5, and yeah, both engines are on -5, over -5. So Houdini 4 won a very, very interesting game there, I have to say. And I will adjust it now. It's 2 pawns each, and it should be winning for the black team now. Okay, no checks. This square is covered. Okay, Stockfish resigned the game. Very, very interesting game, I have to say. Let's see how long they played theory there. So let's put it on the board. d4, the Catalan opening. Rook here, bishop e3. Bishop e3 is not so bad. Knight here, bishop e3, but normally there is this e3 or knight c3 move, but bishop e3 is also not that bad. e3, knight c3, bishop e3, knight here. Okay, let's follow this through. I have a couple of questions about this game. f6b takes. Well, this is just a better continuation. Knight takes here. Queen here, double attack, queen there, queen here, bishop there, and bishop takes here. This is very interesting kind of stuff there. And now the king slicing in on the light squares. Beautiful play by Houdini. Beautiful. And here Stockfish resigned the game. Yeah. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Ciao.